For MIDI Guitar 2, the software alternative for pitch to MIDI here, the question arises pretty early in the evaluation phase, is there perhaps a better alternative when it comes to pickups, or do I have even a guitar that actually works for this? And my idea with this video is to challenge the perception that it has to be this solid body, this or that setup of pickups and whatever. So I'm going to use the worst guitar I have for that particular purpose. And let's see together here what results may come out of it. So the thing you need to do is to connect your guitar to an audio interface and then go to your computer. I've dug out the absolutely worst guitar in my collection for this purpose with regard to MIDI guitar, since it has a lot of reflections. I mean, you have the hollow body and it should be a total disaster according to the guidelines. If you were to go into the forum or look at the MIDI guitar instructions that sort of comes with the purchase of the software. So the thing I'm interested in here is how horrendous can it be? How bad is it to actually use another guitar other than what is suggested in the forum, say a solid body humbucker guitar? Are you able to use your guitar that you already have? Let's see. Can I get this to play something like a chord? It seems like. If you look at the graphics, you'll see that perhaps not all notes are ringing for the same amount of time, and that's because I perhaps can't press for long enough, or the notes individually die out so that the software can't pick up on it. But the interesting part is, can I produce notes that are able for the software to pick up on? Now you get both the acoustic guitar note and the piano notes here at the same time. To begin with, I'll disengage the microphone, the room microphone, after a while. And I might also mention that I have a sustain pedal that I always use when I play piano, and it will sound so you don't get spooked. It has nothing to do with the guitar, but if I let that go, it will sound like. And I'm using that pedal only to give you a sort of sense of, okay, is it worth it to actually invest in a new guitar, or can I use my, say, old guitar and perhaps invest in a sustain pedal that would be considerably much cheaper, and keep going with my standard guitar until I feel interested in investing in something more appropriate for the actual software. So this would be an acoustic guitar from the late 80s. It's a Kramer Ferrington KFS2, I think it's called. If you lived in the 80s, you would have seen perhaps David Bowie playing one, and this is more probably from my Eddie Van Halen fanboy days. So this is actually the only acoustic guitar I have. I don't use any acoustic guitars normally, since I don't play bonfires especially much. The question now is, can I use this as a MIDI controller? Well, You be the judge. You see in the corner how it translates into MIDI, the things I'm playing. Sorry about that. So I would say that's kind of this is at least my argument for keep whatever guitar you have, at least to begin with. Don't invest in any new gear just to try this software out, because I mean, if I can get this to work, you can get sort of any electric guitar at least to work. Since consider the fact that this is some piezo contact mics I have. I don't have these acoustic mics that would pick up, or acoustic pickups that would pick up on any reflection and any reverb I have in the actual guitar. So at least something is mitigated through having this contact mics, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could use some sort of pickup in the sound hole of this one as well and get an equally satisfying result, MIDI wise, that is. Let me, for the sake of the argument, just switch guitars to an electric guitar with the exact same setup. No, nothing else done. So I'll go to my trusty Parker here. And you can see the only thing that differs now is I get a lot less of the acoustic sound from the guitar. Yeah, so that would be an example on an electric guitar. Can I use the acoustic guitar again here for, say, like an instrument, like a trumpet? Let's change the instrument here. I have, as always, a breath controller. So this is really a test for under the poorest conditions, just for the interest of looking at, is it possible to use sort of an old acoustic guitar as a MIDI controller? And I would say absolutely. I'm gonna use the aftertouch from MIDI guitar instead of my breath controller. So an interesting aspect of this is actually these strings are a bit harder to bend than would be with my standard guitar. It can be from me having not used this guitar in like 15 years, I guess. So you got a lot of noise coming off of trying to bend the strings. And I mean, one of those things that I like about MIDI Guitar 2 software is the ability for us to use our own vibrato as guitarists, and it's not that easy with, of course, you can do those slow bends, but once you start looking for something like what a trumpet player would do, going to the next note, going to the next note, and they're not that easy to emulate with acoustic guitar as they would be with an electric. But I mean, that's really details. The thing I would have you look at and consider is, do you think this sounds like a good enough start for you were you to start using MIDI Guitar 2 as a software alternative? If you have something like this old Kramer Ferrington in your closet, give it a shot anyway. The big takeaway from this video might be you don't actually need any special gear to begin with. Go with what you got and try out the MIDI Guitar 2 trial version, at least to begin with. Get an instrument that doesn't have a lot of fret buzz. You can confidently play consistent pitches, so you don't get those notes that break up due to bad strings, bad cables, weak fingers or anything like that, because then you'll get those poor results. This is actually not that hard to play, since it's both steel strings on it and it has sort of an electric guitar neck already, so it's not like I'm that hampered by the actual guitar to be able to play. But it would be the resonating from the body that was interesting to test. And the idea here was, can use any old guitar from your setup? My suggestion would be absolutely. And with that, I say thank you, and I'll see you later on another subject, I guess. Bye.